Welcome everybody to this webinar, Quick Big Bets, a way to enlarge the audience. My name is Sami Kauhanen and I will be the moderator of this webinar. Few words about myself. Since 2020, I have been the CEO of Suomen Hippos, which is the horse racing authority in Finland. Before joining Hippos, I used to work for Veikkaus for 9 years. As many of you know, Veikkaus is the state-owned company offering all the possible products when it comes to lottery and gambling, and it is state-owned. For the past 5 years, I was the vice president in charge of betting, and I was responsible for sports horses and some period of time also table games. I was also a member of the board of GLMS, which is the Global Lottery Monitoring System, and EPMA, European Pari Mutuel Association, which gave me a good understanding of the global gambling sector. The topic of this webinar is Quick Big Bets, a way to enlarge the audience. We see that quick picks are an easy way to start if you're a beginner, allowing the machine or other punters pick the horses for you. Simple as that. Such message can attract beginners, but can they be turned into regular punters? Quick Pick seems to be a great tool to communicate on horse race betting, but what is our audience? Are Quick Pick products a great benefit for the turnover? How do we sell such products online? Is it a way to bring customers to other horse racing betting products? What about Quick Picks for sports betting? What are the differences with horse racing betting? Those are very important questions, and during this webinar, we try to find answers to them. We will hear 3 very interesting presentations about different solutions. ATG's Ilvas Venson and Peter Ågren are presenting the development and the success and future of the Harry Boy product in Sweden. Glenn Lee will speak about the different approaches of mystery bets by Tabcorp. And as Chris Lash from Canada describes it, the Dark Horse app is not only a way to broaden racing appeal, it also represents the future of Quick Pick by using datasets, algorithms, and AI to build scenarios and strategies for the new customers. And before those presentations, I will speak shortly about Quick Picks in sports betting. But now I have the pleasure to introduce you the other speakers. Ilvas Venson, who joined ATG 2017 as an international key account manager. Since September 2019, she has been responsible for international operations at ATG. As the head of international sales, Ilva is responsible for international partnerships and is also a part of ATG's commercial management team. Ylva wants to establish the international department as more important part of the ATG's business, with heightened awareness of the potential of international cooperation. Prior to ATG, Ylva has many years of experience working with international brands on the domestic market of Sweden. She knows all about entertainment brands and franchises like Marvel, Star Wars, and Universal Studios from her years working for a leading licensing agency covering Nordic and Eastern Europe. Welcome, Ylva. Peter Ågren, whose current role is a business development manager at ATG since 2020. He has worked with ATG for several years as a product manager, product owner, and for 10 years as manager of the digital sales. In his current role at ATG, he is responsible for developing the betting experience and the betting products within the horse betting area. Welcome, Peter. Chris Lush is the Chief Innovation, Technology and Wagering Officer for Woodbine Entertainment Group, the largest operator of horse racing in Canada. Since originally joining Woodbine Entertainment as the Senior Vice President of Information Technology, Chris's portfolio was expanded to include wagering and innovation. Chris has been responsible for increasing the global wagering footprint for Canadian simulcast product and introducing innovation and change to the broadcasting environment. He also runs a series of initiatives surrounding innovation to evolve and improve both the product and delivery model for Pari Mutuel wagering, including sponsoring the transformation to mobile wagering for horse racing in Canada. Welcome, Chris, to this webinar. And then the third speaker will be Glenn Lee, a General Manager, Business Development at Tabcorp, who is a highly experienced senior executive with international success in the world's premier entertainment and gaming organization. Glenn holds a Bachelor of Business from University of Technology, Sydney. His wagering journey started at NSW Tab in 1992 and has held various roles at Tabcorp, including General Manager, Marketing and General Manager, Business Development. In his current role of General Manager, Racing, Glenn is accountable for the management of Tabcorp's racing industry partnerships across Australia. Glenn also spent 3 years at the Hong Kong Jockey Club, where he was responsible for the integrated portfolio of horse race Pari Mutuel product development, marketing and analytics. Welcome, Glenn Lee. And now some words about, like I promised, about the quick picks for sports betting, even though the main focus in this webinar are the quick picks in horse race betting. But I would like to open up with a few words about how it is done in sports betting world. Overall, there are a lot of similarities with the horse betting products that we are hearing more today, but some differences there still might be. Quick pick products in sports betting are mainly used in Pari Mutuel products. At least here in Finland, in the fixed odds side, there's not much offering in the quick picks on that side. They're used on football pools. Then there's a correct score either in one game or multiple games. And you could say that there are multi-channel products. They are not omni-channel because at least in Finland you can connect the retail offering to the online offering. But I think in Sweden they are able to do so. How it's offered in retail, there's a classic quick pick by the gaming system. You just say that I want to have the football pool quick pick for 12 euros and the machine takes care of all of it. Another really good product are the bet by retailer, which is then split in shares. So the original bet is done by the retailer and then they split it in shares, 10, 20 shares, and the customers are able to buy those shares from the retailer. Or in marketing purposes, there could be a punter who plans the bet for the retailer, and then the process is the same, that the retailer actually places the bet and splits it in shares afterwards. Online world, either if it's website or mobile, the basic offering is the same. There you can also have the classic quick pick by the gaming system. Then an interesting product is a bet by a punter split in shares. So some punter can actually make a big system and keep maybe 10% of that and then put it in shares, and those shares are for sale in online world. And the third, I would say maybe the growing sector are the special group formed by the punters. So you can invite your friends and people you know or who wants to join this special group, and any member of that group can actually make a bet and split it in shares, and those shares are available only for the group members, for the special group. But basically, a lot of similarities when we start listening to these presentations from Tabcorp, ADG, and from Canada. So I will hand it over to Ylva and Peter now so that you can actually start your own show. And one practical issue that we will have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. But of course, if you want to address a question during the webinar, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. So Harald and Florence can actually write them down, and maybe we can answer those questions during the presentations or after each presentation. But Ylva and Peter.
Thank you, Sammy. I'll try to start with sharing my screen. Okay, as Sammy said, I'm going to talk about the quick pick, and the name of quick pick for ATG is Harry Boy. So, and I will start tell you something about the history and development on ATG for the Harry Boy. And it started in 1993 when we launched our new main product called the V75. V75, for you who don't know, is a multi-leg bet type that is still our main product here in Sweden. It's for the customers to have correct in 7, 6, or 5 races, then you have a payout. And when we launched V75, we also launched the character you can see below, Harry Boy. And why did we launch Harry Boy as a quick pick? We thought to increase the turnover, that was one of our main goals. We needed more customers. And how could we get that? And we knew that many people didn't bet on horses since they thought they knew too little about it. So that's when we launched the Harry Boy. And this is an ad, probably from around 1993, and this is in Swedish, but the saying is, you don't have to be an expert to get rich on horses, just say Harry Boy. And I think that saying still works back from 93. That's about what we want to say with this product. And what is Harry Boy? Of course, not just a random pick of horses. It's an advanced algorithm that mixes favorites and less expected horses. And some key factors that we continue to work with about the algorithm is the level of the RTP of the product. For V75, it's 65%. What is the RTP? And the Harry Boy needs to deliver something like that as well. Between 60 and 65%, we think that the Harry Boy needs to deliver. And share winning bets. For these kind of customers who buy a Harry Boy, it's important to win. Maybe not the most important how much, but just to win something. So it's important to have a good share of winning bets. And maybe one of the most important key factor is the high winning. Million winnings we talk about in Sweden. So this is in Swedish crowns, it's million winnings. This is really important in our marketing. So the customers knew that Harry Boy can help you win a lot of money. So this is really important, that Harry Boy also deliver million winnings. And some words about the development of Harry Boy through the years. We started, as I said, with the V75, and now we have Harry Boy on most of our bet types. Not everyone, but almost every bet type we have a Harry Boy, so the customers can buy a Harry Boy. And about the development, we have made some development that we call Banker Harry, that the customer can pick one or more bankers and let Harry Boy do the rest. And after that, Flexible Harry, you can not only pick bankers, but some more horses, and you can open or close the legs, for example, for V75. And why we did that development was, I would say, from 2 reasons. For the Harry Boy customers that maybe want to start picking some horses, we think that's important. And for our skilled players, to attract them for the Harry Boy. Maybe they want to pick 1 or 2 horses. So we think that's the reasons why we did this development. We also developed subscriptions, so you can get a Harry for every occasion if you want to. And for a couple of years, we launched Chance or Favorite. And that are Harry Boys where you don't have to pick any horses, but there are different twists, you could say, on the algorithm. Win often or win more. And what is that? I will try to explain it on this slide. That the regular Harry Boy is in blue, about winning amount and chance of winning. And then the green is the Harry Boy favorite. but the chance of winning is higher. But if you win, maybe don't so much money. And the chance, Harry Boy chance, is, well, a little less chance to win. But if you win, the chance is higher to win a larger amount. So that's a twist that we have made on the Harry Boy, still just for V75. We'll see what if we're going to launch it on more products, but still is just for V75 this far. And some findings that we have made about the development of Harry Boy is a challenge between develop as we want to and still making it as easy as possible for the customers. For a lot of these customers, they don't want to ask any questions about different Harrys, and they don't want to have any questions back. For example, in the shops on what kind of Harry Boy you want. They want it as easy as possible. So this is a challenge for us. And we'll also find out it's easier to have different Harry Boys online than in shops, because online you can search for information for yourself. You don't get the questions, you don't have to ask questions. So what we have found out is easier to have more and different Harry Boys online than in the shops. And one question, is Harry Boy for everyone? Well, I would say for us, it almost is. 75% of our customers have made at least one Harry bet the last year. So very many of our customers makes Harry bets in different frequencies, but many of our customers bet on Harry Boy. But still, 25% of our customers only bet on Harry Boy. And I think that's fine. If they don't want to take the customer journey and start picking horses themselves, it's okay if they just want to buy a Harry Boy. So these are also important customers for us that we wouldn't have elsewhere. Then I'm going to talk a little about that. This is not for especially a Harry Boy, but the launch something we launched last week that could make the betting experience more interesting for a Harry Boy customer. Is that we connected the horse tracking system that you can watch in the live races with your own bet. And to make just a picture, an example here, is you watch the live video, you have the horse tracking system in the live video that you can see the horses. But here you can also, if you have a bet, for here you can see a V86 bet, and you have the horses 7 and 12 that you bet on this race. You can add an extra information below the live screen where you see the horses you have picked, number 12 and number 7, and where they are in the races, to make the betting experience better. This, as I said, this is not mostly and mainly for high buy customers, but if they try to watch the live races, I think that would help them a lot. So that will be an interesting thing to follow, how the customers think of this. And about Harry Boy and what we're working on for the next step just with the Harry Boy. And we have some customer insights about these customers who mostly bet on Harry Boy. They are not so interested in the races, don't look at the live races. So they're not sure when the result from the bet is ready. Where do I find my bet? How do I correct my bet? So that is something that we're looking at and working on right now. To make it smoother, more fun, to correct the bet. You can have notifications when the races are over and animations if you win. This is not rocket science, but I think it's something that these kind of customers would appreciate to make a better betting experience for them. This is just a picture of when you have made your bets, you can make a mark if you want a notification or if you don't want a notification. So this is something that we're working on right now. I'm also going to talk a little about how we do the marketing and the brand about Harry Boy. And this is a survey that was made in Sweden about the customers, gambling people in Sweden, and what they know about companies, brands, and so on. And Lotto is the most well-known brand in Sweden. Almost 100% of the Swedish gambling people know about Lotto. But V75 and Harry Boy are not so far away from the Lotto. So we have a string here about our Harry Boy. It's very well known in Sweden. We worked for it for a long time and worked hard with it. So it's a very well-known product in Sweden. And about the brand, how we work with that. It's the position is smooth, joyful, have a chance at the big wins, and to compete with big lotteries as Lotto, Eurojackpot. So the main target group for Harry is customers who want to participate in games where there's a chance to win a lot of money, but also still have to see that the brand, and it's not irrelevant to skilled players and gamblers, because they are important as well for the Harry Boy sales. And also with the communication, joyful, smooth, easy to play, make me dream of big win, de-dramatize horse racing in a fun way. And the concept we're working on right now with communication is the saying that everybody can win, you can win. And I personally like that saying. I think it talks about the product. Everybody can win, you can win. And here are some examples from our marketing and commercial that always ends up with Harry Boy, everybody can win, you can win. And this is for V75. That's, I said earlier, is our main product and the product we make most commercial about and brand and marketing. So I'm leaving for Ilva to take over.
Yes, we're going to make a switch. Use the same computer. Hello, everyone. As Sami told you, I work for the international business. So we also work with Harry Boy internationally. And there is a different challenge since we don't have 90% knowledge about the brand outside of the Swedish region. So I would like to tell you a little about what we learned and what we've done so far. There's some examples here, actually where we actually do something with Harry Boy or the Quick Pick. Some people, some of our partners, they use the Harry Boy as a brand, some don't. Most partners don't. They use their own name or own just Quick Pick. And for your information, ATG, we had international cooperation since 1999. We have plus 20 partners around the world. We are in 17 countries. So this is some examples from what we tried to do in the past in US, also from in the middle, there's from Finland, and we have some our Norwegian partner, Norsk Tote, and also Germany. And some insights. Of course, it's very important to have the credibility and acceptance for horse racing to make people buy this kind of product. But the combinations of big pools, which ATG actually we have, and the Quick Pick can create a great offer for betting companies and customers in a different way than we traditionally think. I also think it's very important that we enable adaptation. What works in Sweden won't work in other places around the world. It's obvious. So it's important that the retailer or the country and the company adapt it so it feels familiar, safe, and also we need to think about price points. In Eastern Europe, for example, maybe people won't buy a lucky ticket for 10 euros or 100 euros. Maybe they just can buy something for 2 or 3 or 5 euros. Distribution, of course, is a key to make it available. I think in the past we always had Harry Boy or the Quick Pick as a part of what we offered to our partners. But in the recent years, we really tried to see it as we do in Sweden as a good product who could attract both skilled punters, but also, of course, new customers. And marketing and visibility is definitely a key. For example, we have one of our older partners. They started to communicate Quick Pick for V86, and the actual number of customers who bought a quick pick went from some hundreds to almost 10,000 customers, just to make it visible, promote it, and make marketing. And of course, it's always important to have clear communication what it is. It is not only luck; it's actually a skilled game. So you're part of the game, so to speak. So, of course, we want to accelerate this. I think, and one of the ideas is because why should a partner of ours promote a product that maybe to a couple of customers just spend 10 euros on, instead of going for the professionals who could spend millions of euros. I think it's very important that we as ATG, we see this as a way for us, because we take healthy pools very, very seriously, to use our quick pick functionality to add liquidity to the pools. And we must therefore give our partners a better offer, meaning a lower commission. So we see it as a liquidity product, and we need to give our partners a better margin. And also package it, because it must be relevant and it must make sense. And we see it as an add-on product for the skilled punters, but also to encourage customers to try the multi-leg betting, which is very, very, I mean, here in Sweden, it's what people bet on, but it's not the fact internationally. So, and also, I mean, to have subscriptions is a very good way. I mean, look at everyone with services now want to have subscriptions. So you tie the customers to this and make them loyal to the product and the brand. And I think also we talk a lot about the V75 and the big pools, but don't forget about the Daily Double, for example, which is also a very good product, which is 2 races only. It could be maybe easier to attract international partners or customers. And be clear to the communication. It should be easy, quick, smart, and fun. And some unique selling points for our quick pick is it's almost, I don't know if it's better, but I will be brave enough to say it's better than a lottery. And because you win more often and you have a better chance. And we use this saying in the US, and I really like it. Your fortune can literally change on a dime. And looking forward, we see new business opportunities, also for companies that might not have horse betting as the core business. It could be also to reach new customers. We need to really think about packaging and how to promote this. And as Franklin Roosevelt said, there's a new deal coming up, I hope. We're looking at this to just say, play quick, win big, and really package it as more of a fortune lucky game to attract additional, not only the already interested horse racing bettors, but also a wider audience. And in order to do that, I think it's very important to be 100% compliant. It must be easy to integrate. We all know about commingling and the technology, and it takes forever. We must find a way to be easy to integrate with. And of course, it must be profitable. Otherwise, how to attract new kind of companies to sell this product? It must be profitable. So to sum it up, 3 words: it's credible, quick, and easy. And with that, I think we have large potential to reach additional customers. And before I leave you, I just want to say that we ATG also has sports betting, and we're going to take this internationally as well. We just launched a new product here in Sweden, which called this Big Nine, which is a pool bet. And of course, we have the Harry Boy functionality in this product as well. So thank you very much for me and Peter.
Thank you, Ylva, and thank you, Peter. I think we have a time for a short question that was typed here in the Q&As. Given that Harry Boy has been around for some years, how do you make the product fresh again for customers?
As I said, it is a challenge. Just it's the challenge between develop and do things and still keeping it easy for the customers. So that's a challenge, but we're trying, and we take different steps about the Harry Boy, and then we'll see what the customers like and maybe what they don't like and what we have to improve. I would say right now the subscription is something that we think there are more potential than we have been able to get out of it so far. So that is something I think we need to look at as well.
Could you summarize it somehow that it's constant product development plus marketing actions that you try to keep it like fresh?
Yes, the marketing is very important about Harry Boy, definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you both, Peter and Ylva. And it's time to move on. And the next speaker will be Chris Lush, and he will open up the secrets behind the Dark Horse app. The floor is yours, Chris.
Great. Thanks, Sammy. Appreciate that. So I'll just bring up my screen. We'll have a look at this. I'm assuming everyone can see that okay. Great. So I'm going to talk about Dark Horse Bets briefly. And to be clear, Dark Horse Bets is actually an ADW platform that we launched in Canada, and we've been refining over the last year. So this is available for Canadian customers from coast to coast, and we predominantly focus on new customers. So this really is a product that we're targeting against new players. So it's not really your key punters or your core players. So what I'm going to kind of speak through today is a bit of an overview on what we actually do. So the app itself is designed in such a way that it's very simple and fluid in how to place a bet. Again, we're targeting a very different customer base here. So a couple of key components here is we actually have what we would look at as a simulcast menu for the day, which is race after race, and it keeps populating based upon races available. To date, we're actually focused on the North American market, predominantly because the amount of data we have available through Equibase is what defines and builds most of our algorithms. So having the right data sets to provide the output we need for our customers is critical. So essentially, players can actually play through this in two ways. One is with cash and one is with coins. So one of the novel ideas we have here is let players download the app and actually try placing a wager on a horse race, whether it's a simple bet or an exotic bet, but do it without risking any money. So the idea here is coins are a fictitious money, like you would see in a game where you actually win money by progressing to levels. We offer our customers a number of coins to start with. Based on how they play, we actually top them up. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. We find that if they actually win with coins, then they have a tendency to actually put money into their accounts and bet with money. So it's a unique way of engaging customers, letting them know how easy it is to play, but also kind of graduating them through to cash play, which is a big piece of this. The piece we're going to talk to today really is what we call smart picks. So smart picks are essentially bundled bets. And what they are is they're bets that are placed against a number of chosen horses. And I'm going to kind of talk through how that kind of functions. But what we have some fairly sophisticated algorithms. And these are really designed to provide a positive return. So the idea here is based upon how much you're betting, we're trying to make sure that the customers return an equal or greater value. So the algorithm is doing a couple different things. So one, it's obviously, and I'll kind of talk through how it actually does this, but the one thing it does is it tries to pick out the probable winners of the race. So again, AI is looking at this, or we call machine learning, because what we're looking at is past performance history. It's trying to predict who it thinks is the probable horse to win a race, and then it's giving you essentially tips what it thinks is the most likely horses to finish first or second or third or fourth. The next thing it's doing is it's saying, okay, if you want to place a bet on that type of or those horses, I suggest a bundle of bets, because the likelihood of you winning spread across multiple bets increases dramatically. And then the last thing it does is, based upon live money in pools, it actually adjusts the value for each wager to make sure that if that wager comes through, you're going to have a positive return. So again, when you look at a win, place, or show bet, or an exacta bet, or a tractor bet, what it's really trying to do is ensure that however much money you put into the pool, you're going to get that money back. So I'm going to talk through a bit about the different pieces we actually have in here. So we actually have right now 4 different bundles we've actually built. And again, you can probably see at the top of the right, we get into the more exotic bets. If you scroll up even higher, you can do a win, place, show bet. You can obviously do an exactor, a triactor, a superfecta, and a high five. At this point, we're only offering single leg races, so we don't have multi-leg set up into bundles just yet. And again, the bundles we're actually offering today is broken into 4 sort of bundles. So blue chip is essentially taking your money, whatever denomination you decide to bet, and placing it against generally it's place or show bets on higher probables. And what it's doing is it's trying to make sure that based upon the outcome of the race, you're going to get a positive return. And again, it's what we call a safe bet. So normally when you look at the stock market and you look at the blue chip stocks, the ones you bet on, and you expect a very small positive return. The next one is the Dutch. And for any core punters out there, you would know a Dutch bet really is spreading a lot of money across multiple pools in such a way that you're actually taking your horse selection, maybe placing some win bets, placing some exactor bets, some tracker bets, and even some superfecta bets. So really a different way of dealing with it. And this is automating the whole process for you. So, after horse selection, the algorithm actually goes out and places all these bets for you. Silver and gold, the connotation there obviously is 1 and 2. So again, we're focusing on the Exacta Pool. So the Exacta Pool, again, what we are looking at is multiple combinations. So everyone kind of knows about a boxed exactor where you actually take 2 horses and box them, so you actually have 2 different bets. What the algorithm is actually doing is looking at the probable outcome of the race. It's looking at the amount bet and is placing a number of different exactor bets, trying to make sure you're going to have a positive return on your wager. And then lastly, the Big Short. And this is actually a very popular bet, believe it or not. What you do find is that, people who are traditional punters are always playing these pools where trying to hit the exactor, trying to hit the triactor, and you always have that one long shot that comes through and places second or places third and kind of upset those pools. So what we actually built is what we call the Big Short. And what it does is it actually places wagers. Generally, it's a show or a place wager on long shots. And then what it does is it balances that with more probable outcomes on exactors. So the idea here is we're going to play some long shots for you, but you're also going to hedge your bet with some safer bets, and probably some bets that, because it's the exactor pool, are going to pay a little better. So again, very unique combination on how we structure this. And again, all focusing on sort of being able to watch a race, enjoy the race, and have a positive return. So I'll talk a bit about how these are actually structured. So what happens is the customer goes through and basically selects 4 horses. And the reason we do this, and traditionally, again, an ADW or a different platform would ask you for your favorite horse. We ask for your top 4 favorite horses, or you can have the system automatically give you the 4 horses. So very much like, the Hairy Boy and the Quick Bet we just went through. Peter explained exactly how it works. We have an algorithm that'll actually populate the 4 horses if you wanted to. If you don't, you can actually select them and sort them by various ways. So you can see on the left here, you could sort by horse number. So your traditional way of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We do smart picks. So smart picks is again our algorithm. So again, it is defined to, it's actually built to predict the probable winners of the race. Again, I'm not quite sure exactly how accurate it is to date. We've seen numbers anywhere from 65 to 70% accuracy, which is great. But again, that changes dramatically as you move into the win, place, show pools. You can also obviously do by power ratings, which is more of a speed. Opening odds, which is your morning line odds. So it's what the track is setting for the horses. Current odds. So that is what the pools currently have for that horse. And then career wins and so forth. So there's ways of actually sorting the different horses and then you being able to see that order and choose the horses based on that order. So once you actually select the 4 horses you want, you then select a dollar value for the bet. Because these are bundled bets and different pools require a different bet minimum, and actually the increments in some of these bet pools vary. So you may actually have an incremental bet at different tracks of 20 cents, but the bet minimum is $1. So in an Exacta pool, I would need to bet $1 as the minimum, but I could actually increase in increments by 20 cents. So I could actually do a $1.20 bet, a $1.40 bet. So it gives a lot of flexibility to the algorithm to actually build out a bet bundle that's going to turn a positive return. So what we've done here is the minimum investment for one of these bets is $5 Canadian, about $4.40 US. And really what that's designed to do is making sure that we have a minimum dollar value to build that bundle. And again, you can go up as high as you want. What we do find is that most of our players are betting the $10 or $20 bets. And that seems to be the sweet spot for this type of player. So jumping forward, I'm going to quickly talk through sort of how these bets and give you some examples of actually how they're built. So this is the blue chip. And this was probably not the best example. Of what I did is, I think it was last week or the week before, I opened up my app and I did some screenshots to actually walk through a real world example. So these are all bets that I placed. And what I did is a $20 bet on each one of the pools to have a look at the return and kind of break out exactly what these bundles look like. So again, this is the blue chip. And in this specific algorithm is really looking at taking money and wagering it across different horses, but trying to make sure we get a positive return. What you find is that there's the odds between the various horses in this particular race were fairly even. Normally I would see, a $7 show bet, a $5, a $3, and a $2 for a longer shot. This just happened to split it evenly. It does vary, and depending on when you actually place the bet, the closer you place the bet to the race going live, the odds will change more and the algorithm will recalculate. So if you placed a $20 bundle, let's say at 15 minutes to post, and another one at 2 minutes to post, the values for each of those wagers are going to be dramatically different in the pools they're placing in. And they're doing that because they're adjusting against live odds in the pool. So again, it really is time sensitive on how these are all placed. I'm going to talk just a bit about the Dutch bet, which is, again, a far more sophisticated bet. So any real core punters or core horse players would understand what this is. And this really is looking at placing a number of bets against a varying number of pools. So in this particular instance, what it's done is it says, okay, well, your favorites are really the 8 and the 5. So I'm going to place a $6.60 win. I'm going to act on the 8, which again is the favorite, or sorry, is the second favorite. And the 5, we're going to place a $9.40 win. And again, this is probably the favorite because we're putting a larger dollar value looking to make sure we get a positive return on this. And now what it's doing is actually building out exactor bets, triactor bets, and super effective bets, all based upon my chosen horses. So my chosen horses, again, and I chose the smart picks for this, was actually 5, 8, 1, 10. So what it's doing is it's taking the 5 and the 8, the 1 and the 10, and it's adjusting those in the various pools in different order with different bet values, trying to ensure that I'm going to get a positive return on my wager. So the silver and gold, again, just as its name implies, is really the Exacta Pool. And what we're looking at doing is wagering my $20 against the various combinations. And again, the 5, 8, 1, 10. And what it's doing, and you can see here how it's split the exactor bets. So the 1, 5, it's giving a $4.80 wager against that pool or against that combination. On the 8, 5, it's giving a $4.40. On the 5, 8, it's giving a $4.40. And on the 1, 10, it's giving a $4.10. And it's actually in real time adjusting those bets based on live odds. So again, if I placed this 2 minutes later, those numbers would have been different. And again, what it's really doing is taking a $20 bet and putting it into a combination most likely to win and most likely to provide a return on my bet. And then lastly, the Big Short. And again, this is my favorite personally. This has a tendency to pay out bigger when it actually hits, which I always kind of like. But it always kind of balances that or hedges that with a safer bet that is generally provides a basic return level. So again, if you look at what it's doing here, it's taking the 7, 4, 9, and these are not any horses that I've selected. So these are horses that the algorithm has selected and said, we're going to place show bets against these 3 horses, because likelihood of one of them coming in a first, second, or third place are fairly high, and we think we can get a decent return on a show bet. And it's again, far more likely that they'll come in a show position. But what it does then is it actually balances with the Exacta pools. So you can see here again, the 1-5, the 5-8, the 8-5. Those are 2 of the bets I actually have in the other silver and gold, but at lower dollar values. So what it's really doing here is making sure that if my long shots don't come in, it's building a bundle for me that actually has different combinations of probable winners. So again, quite simple. It's giving you all the details, but most people don't look at the details. They like the bet type and they want to know who to cheer for. And that's sort of the easier component. So for $20, I've now just bought myself a bundle of bets. So I'm going to kind of walk through what happened in each of these as they sort of came through. And people love to know, okay, so that's great. This sounds theoretically fantastic, but what does it actually do? Well, so the winning horses, and you can see in the left-hand pane, are 5, 10, 2, 7. So interestingly enough, the 5, 10 I did have on my horse selection, and the 2, 7 were not. But again, we'll get into that in just a minute. So on the blue chip, I bet the $20 and I won $17.25. And more than likely because I had 2 show bets, and the 2 show bets were probably placed at a point where the odds were still adjusting. So by the time the pools closed, the odds probably adjusted down farther. You know, again, for the 10 horse being a high favorite and the 5 horse being a high favorite, they were probably fairly close odds. So I didn't get quite the payout I wanted. So again, $17.25, which technically means I lost $2.75. But what's different here is I created a winning experience. So our customers that are playing this are like, okay, I won. Even though I lost $2.75, I placed all these bets and a couple of them came through. And you actually create a winning experience as opposed to I bet a win bet and I lost everything. So very different way of approaching sort of these new players. When I look at the Dutch bet, again, the same horses, I look at what I actually placed, and I had that 5 horse as a win. Neither one of my exactors came through because the 10, it was the 5, 10, and I didn't have that combination in the Dutch. But you can see here that the 5 horse on the win paid out $25.85. So again, I'm now up $5.85 on this bet. So I do feel like it's a winning experience. It could have been a little better if I'd hit, and the odd time when you actually do hit the win, the exactor, the tractor, and the super, it's been a fantastic. You get this, you know, multi-$100 winning experience, which is dramatically different than what we'd see on this type of bet. When we look at the silver and gold, again, this is the Exacta pools, and we look at how it placed and how it sort of leveraged those pieces. So again, I did have my favorite horses in there. So 5, 10 is the winning exactor. My 4 horses were again 5, 8, 1, 10, and it had built a 5, 10 exactor for $2.20. That actually returned $36.85. So that was fantastic. This one actually returned almost double my money. So $16.85, which has been, you know, and I look at that as a true winning experience because I'm going to turn around and probably bet that again. And then lastly, the Big Short. And again, one that I usually like and I really kind of enjoy. You know, the challenge with this one obviously is that when the long shots don't come in, I'd love to still have something in my back pocket to make sure I'm not having a losing experience. So again, I bet $20 and I won $23.45. None of the horses that it selected, the 7, 4, 9, came into the 1, 2, 3 position. You can actually see on the bottom left, the 7 horse did come in the 4 position. So I was very close to the 7 actually reaching that. And I would have won probably a decent show pool on that. But I did actually hedge my bet. And the algorithm built me some exactors, some safer exactors, including the 5, 10. And it bet $1.40 into that pool, which returned to $23.45. So again, I'm up $23.45. So out of all the bets, again, one bet paid a little less than my actual initial bet, but it still felt like a winning experience. And the other ones all returned a positive. So again, from a casual bettor, for a new player coming in and not knowing how to build a Dutch or how to box exactors or do any of these kind of crazy, more exotic bets, it is an easy way to say $20, let the AI go out and build me a bundle of bets with a high probability of winning, and then I can just sit back and cheer. So again, it's very much like we were kind of talking about with the Harry Boy bet. I'd like some intelligence to the bet, but I want to trust a system or an algorithm and I want to have sort of that winning experience. So a couple of the key pieces that I kind of have noted here in terms of the uniqueness of the platform. So traditionally, and I'll start with the bottom right, you can see here that HPI Bet is the predominant platform in Canada. We have about 40,000 active players in Canada who actually play with HPI Bet. And they bet over the last year about $800 to $850 million through that platform. And again, we offer that from coast to coast across Canada. So whether you're in Newfoundland or Vancouver, you can bet into HPI Bet. Dark Horse, again, is a mobile first. So it's a native mobile app. You download it from the App Store or Google Play. It is a very different experience. You don't have all of the bells and whistles of a traditional ADW, so it's a very simplified experience. But we tried to make it easy to place more exotic wagers. And what we are finding is if you look at the stats on the average player age, and this is, I think, a challenge for a lot of different horse racing industries worldwide, you can see the demographic that we have playing HPI Bet. The largest group is the 60 to 70-year-olds. The second largest group in Canada is 70 to 80-year-olds, followed by the 50 to 60-year-olds. So we have an aging population of horse players in Canada. And so part of our challenge is how do we engage that younger demographic to horse racing? Because that younger demographic is the future of wagering and horse racing. And if we're going to sustain horse racing in Canada, we need to engage and bring that younger audience on board. So Dark Horse Bets, as you can see at the top, the highest age group is actually 30 to 40-year-olds, which is really that sweet spot. And again, then we get the 40 to 50 and 50 to 60, but even the 20 to 30-year-olds. So we're getting into the millennials here. And the millennials are making up a big percentage of our player groups. And that's exactly the group we'd love to be able to bring into the sport and engage with the sport. So we are seeing, again, is that 21% of the players on our Dark Horse Bets app are actually under 30, and 24% are 30 to 40-year-olds. So again, these are some incredible numbers we're seeing in terms of that engagement, and it's the audience we're trying to attract. So I think we're doing a lot of things right, and we're currently at a phase where we're actually looking at the results, how the players are betting, what type of bets are they placing. I'll just tell you anecdotally that we're finding that about 80% of all of our players try a bet bundle, and about 25 to 30% of them play them consistently, meaning only the bet bundles. And others go out and just do simple show bets or win or place bets. So it's unique, and we're not seeing actually a lot of players in our Dark Horse Bets platform actually building their own their own exotics. What we are finding is that rather than them actually building their own exotic bets, they're either placing simple bets themselves, or they're actually purchasing bet bundles and letting the algorithms actually build exotic bets for them. So I'm going to end it there and probably stop and hand it back to you, Sammy.
Thank you very much, Chris. This is at least on my behalf, this is very interesting, and it sort of gives you a feeling how would it feel like being a pro punter for a while. So that is hard to actually divide your bets and in order to get either big win or a sure win, and this gives you the possibility of doing that. Very, very interesting. There's no questions directly to Chris at the moment, so I think we will move on to Glenn, and Glenn will talk about the Tap Corp and the mystery bets over there. So go ahead, Glenn.
Right. Thanks, Sammy, and good day, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen. I just want to make sure that pops up and let me know that that's sharing, that you should be seeing that now. Yeah. Yep, good as gold. So thanks for the opportunity today. I've only got 4 slides. I just wanted to take you through our journey here in Australia with regards to mystery betting and quick pick. I've got one slide on where we've been, one slide on our current state of play, and a couple of slides on the opportunities that we think that mystery betting can play out in the future. So just about 10 minutes I think we'll need. Where we've been, mystery betting, like everybody has said on this before, has traditionally been used to introduce new customers into the category, really drive that acquisition growth and top line turnover. A few examples on the screen, going back all the way to the late 90s with Hollywood star Burt Reynolds flying out to Australia to appear in an ad campaign for us, the Tab, your off-track betting shop, to really appeal to a mass audience, and have betting as a bit of a social interaction at your local pub or club. We developed a bet type called the 3-up, very simple bet type, low value, low entry, it's $3. You got a mystery win bet, a mystery exacta. Of course, your win bet number was your first leg of your exacta, and a trifecta. So win, get the exacta, get the trifecta, you get the 3-up, you have a great night. So that was 20 years ago. It still is available in our bricks and mortar stores, and it still is popular with some of our customers that have been around since 1998. Transitioned to 10 years ago. Unashamedly, we took the lead from our ATG friends, and we introduced Fred as our mystery betting option for a new bet type that we launched around 2008, which was called the Big Six. The Big Six was 6 winners in 6 designated races, with, at that stage, a supplementary if you got 5. Fred was the mystery betting component. There was $10 entries, $20 entries, $50 entries, and we just increased the number of combinations in each leg to drive the $10, the $20, and the $50 entry amounts. Successful at the time. Big Six itself, the bet type, was a stretch from our more popular multi-leg bet type, which is the quadrilla or the quaddie, which is 4 races, 4 winners. So we're trying to stretch it out, harder to win, higher dividends, trying to really broaden the base of our customers that we had there. Unfortunately, the world's become a bit of a tough state, and we are mandated that we can't actually use characters such as Fred or Harry Boy in our marketing anymore in Australia. That would be seen too close to the wind in terms of trying to attract a younger audience. So, but we basically put that slide that we've had mystery betting around for 20, 30 years, and it definitely played a part in trying to attract a new audience into race wagering, for want of a better word. Where are we now? In our shops, which is retail, our venues, we have standalone betting shops. We have obviously betting facilities in pubs and clubs. The old school of betting, which is mark cents cards, we still have the mark cents cards at the point of purchase at the counter. When cash was more popular, a lot of people are using our electronic betting terminals in venues now, and they use coupons, cash in, coupon out, use your coupon, the cash your coupon at the end. But the older school, they still use the cash. We have the $2, $3, $4 mystery betting options, mark cents cards, right at the point of purchase. Generally, in the day, they were used to increase your investment to a note. So customers would spontaneously just throw in $2 or $3 or $4 bet. Next race to jump only. They still exist, and they still exist in our electronic betting terminals as well. But really, it's actually a digital game now, whereby we have really expanded the mystery betting optionality. It's fully functional. You can place a mystery bet on any bet type you want, on any race you want. Where there are multiple selections required, you can either select a mystery bet or your own combination, whatever suits the customer in that sense. We've played more around quick bidding, quick picks, as opposed to mystery betting, and I'll say the difference there. In quick bidding, we're trying to facilitate the bet process for our Pari Mutuel exotics. So you can see on the screen there where our tips have 3 or 4 selections. We've had the option for a customer to simply add those selections to a trifecta or a first 4. That populates the bet slip. They're one click away, basically placing that bet. And we find that is actually helping increasing our exotic bet types more so than just a pure mystery bet, because customers like our tips and selections. So that's where we're moving to, more that seamless selling of our exotics via a quick pick. We have also played with a user interface in showing different ways to present a mystery bet. So that wheel there that you've got, that's for an odds and evens bet type, which is a 3 contingency bet type, and customers spin and get a selection. It is just purely mystery, but the spinning process was used because it's very similar to casinos, where customers spin the chocolate wheel and can win various options. So we've played away with how we merchandise the interface more so than the back end algorithm, and that's live now. What you can see there in the digital space, the opportunities going forward. Let me just go through the opportunities going forward for us. probably in 2 or 3 areas. We definitely would still use mystery betting to acquire new or spring racing carnivals. We definitely see it as a way to upsell existing racing customers to more exotics. And maybe what's not on the screen there, but is in terms of new customers, cross-sell sports customers into racing. And I'll touch on that in a second. So when you look at new or spring racing customers, we utilize those marquee racing events to target specific segments. Mystery betting is not for everybody. We know that. We've identified probably 3 segments where it's a possibility. They account for about 30% of our active customer base. They definitely don't account for 30% of our turnover. They are low value customers and they don't bet with us frequently, but that's the job of mystery betting, to get them in and try for us to use our CRM capability to get them bet more frequently. Those customers fit in categories such as sports customers who get involved on our big races. Our spring racing carnival, which we just went through with the Melbourne Cup last week, attracts the nation. So we have some sport race customers that come across. We use mystery betting for those customers. We do have some big race followers. They are customers that come into the category specifically around spring or autumn, have a few bets and leave. And then we have our true once-a-year customers, the Melbourne Cup only customers. Last Tuesday, the first Tuesday in November, was the Melbourne Cup. It is a race that stops the nation. We have a large amount of customers that will come in and simply ask for a mystery trifecta. Our trifecta bet tiers in some jurisdictions is by far our most popular mystery bet. It counts for about 72% of our mystery bets would be on a mystery trifecta. On Cup Day last week, on Tuesday, just to give you a feel of how big the Cup is and how big mystery betting is on the Cup, around 15% of our active customers, that's active customers, whether they were first timers or experienced, placed a mystery trifecta on the Melbourne Cup. So it's part of folklore with regards to mystery betting in the Melbourne Cup. The second opportunity we see is leverage personalization capability. Our CRM engine, we use the Adobe Experience platform, and it can generate tailored offers, including mystery betting offers to customers real time, based on their previous betting activity and their preferences. So we would use Adobe to recognize one of those categories I talked about before, one of those cohorts of customers we talked about before. They might be placing a mystery bet on a major race. We would serve up an offer to them real time on a race that may not be as popular for them, to basically get them back involved and stretch their time with us, stretch them out beyond the carnival. And we'll use our Adobe platform to make sure we serve that mystery betting option to them. The other one which we talk about there is, and Chris touched on it, sports customers. Our market's changing. Our 20 years ago, 10 years ago, introduction into the category of wagering potentially would have been through racing and sport. Now the introduction through the category of wagering is younger customers, having a 5 or 6 or 7 leg accumulator or multi or whatever you call it. And our job now is to actually cross-sell to those sports accumulator customers our racing exotics. And we'll use mystery betting and quick picks as a way to cross-sell that small outlay for a higher return. And that's where I do see a lot of the future here in Australia. Yes, customers will come into the category via large events, but to get them sticky, it's quite tough. For sports customers who are used to accumulators and placing accumulators on the NBA or our rugby league or AFL, we want to get them into our racing exotics, and we see that mystery betting and quick picks are definitely a way to cross-sell those customers into racing. And once they're into racing, they're more sticky. We all know that. Existing racing customers, there's still opportunities there. Ease of the transaction and improvements in that process, especially in the digital world, is something that's important. And I'll show you an example of that on the next page. But our mantra is to basically make the mystery bet or a quick pick as seamless as possible, provide that opportunity in the customer's digital journey. So they're basically one click away of adding a mystery bet or a quick pick to their bet slip, and they're involved in the race. So it's really an upsell potential there. Our tipsters talent, we have here in Australia, we have the broadcast of the racing, as well as the retail betting shops, but there's also a digital offering. Our tipsters have high profile. We want to make it as quick and seamless as possible for customers to include tipster selections in their trifecta or their first four or their quadrilla. So we want to deep link that process, and I'll show you an example on the next page. It's not rocket science, but it's about making as seamless and as efficient as possible in the digital journey. So it's almost a customer can't say no, not putting their favourite tipsters selections into a first four or bet type. And the other way we'll look at it as well, I think with regards to the future of mystery betting, is to look at our other promotional offers, our generosity offers, similar to more, I think, in the UK, where there is a large amount of generosity offers. You know, place a trifecta, and if you come second or third, you get your bet back as a bonus bet. We'll look at those customers that are bet mystery bets, provide them the mystery bet, but also provide them with the opportunity that if 2 out of the 3 selections come second or third, we'll give them a bonus bet back. So we're trying to use the generosity offering that we use for our existing customers and apply that to mystery betting, just morphing that opportunity into mystery betting. So that's where we're going to focus. We probably wouldn't focus too much in inventing new bet types or new mystery betting options. It's pretty much part of the course that mystery betting is on all our betting options at the moment, but it's more about that seamless integration of a mystery bet or a quick pick. And I'll just show you the next page, just a few examples there. Hopefully you can see that. Deep linking of mystery bets. So this was a couple of weeks ago. I talked about the Melbourne Cup. One of our second biggest races of the year is the Caulfield Cup. That's the home page of our app. And you can see the carousel there. I've highlighted 2 options. It says, race 9 Caulfield, mystery trifecta, race 9 mystery first 4. So customers on presentation on opening the app basically press one button, which has mystery first 4, populates the bet slip, and they can place a bet on the first 4. They don't need to go into the race card. They don't need to go into the race. It is literally 2 clicks and they're on that race. Now, that's a good example as well that sports customers would see that as well, and they could be 2 clicks away from placing a bet in the Caulfield Cup and being involved. So that deep linking, that presenting the information through the carousel on the homepage will be more and more. Again, it's simple, but the ability to be able to introduce that on feature races and not have it on feature races is something we'll do more. And we'll also align it with our jackpot. So when we do have a large jackpot, we'll put the deep linking on the carousel, so it's just a more efficient process and get that more impromptu purchase. Going back all the way back to the retail days whereby customers put a Mark Sense card through. This is the equivalent of that in a digital sense. On the right, as you're facing the screen, or the left of the screen, just deep linking our talents tips. We'll service our talent, in this example, David Gately, his tips in our app, and make sure that it's essentially 1 click away from his selections going into the bet slip. One of our most popular multi-leg races is the quadrilla. I talked about that before. So that's 4 races, pick the winner of each race. A lot of people love to have our tipsters selections. At the moment, it's not a seamless process. They can't 1 click that away and put into a bet slip. We'll be introducing that. So it's basically populates all that tipsters selections, 1 click straight into the bet slip, and away you go. So, the deep linking, the efficiency, the way of including in a customer journey is probably where we're looking at the future, as opposed to starting from the scratch. So I might leave it there and stop presenting and hand back to you, Semi, for any questions.
Thank you, Glenn, for interesting
presentation. Try to get through that quickly in the interest of time.
There's one question directly to you. Has TAB ever changed the algorithm to pick a mystery bet?
Yeah, our algorithm is a weighted algorithm, and it's similar to, I think, what we all said before. The algorithm is pretty true over the last few years. It does obviously weight towards the favourites to provide that higher return to player. We don't play with it too often. It seems to have the right sweet spot of providing sufficient amount of winning customers, a small return, but also that opportunity to have a few outsiders and get that large return. But it's not something we deep dive into a lot, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all the speakers for the interesting presentations, and this is a very interesting topic. And are there any questions in the audience? Maybe there's one more coming in. So to Glenn, is the mystery trifecta a difficult sell to festival racegoers as it is a little more complex than a win bet?
No, I would say the trifecta, the terse, whatever you call it, is our exotic sweet spot in Australia. And this might be just traditional, but there is, the win and the place, which would probably account for 40% of turnover. But the trifecta is well known and very popular to once a year and social customers. So when it comes in on a Cup Day, Melbourne Cup Day, people walk in and actually ask for a mystery trifecta with 3 runners. They know a mystery box trifecta with 3 runners. They know they will get 3 runners and those 3 runners can come in any order. It is more popular on Cup Day or any other day than any other our mystery bets. So it's actually the easier one. If the harder one would be giving customers a mystery first 4 and upselling them to the first 4, because that's just a stretch too far for a bulk of our customers.
Good, thank you, Glenn. Any other questions from the audience? We have prepared some questions to all of you guys. But if there is another question, if there are more questions in the audience, just please feel free to write them down in the Q&A box. But for all of you, there's a question that, do you know how many of your regular customers, current regular customers, have started by a quick pick or mystery bet? So have you been able to turn them lucky punters into skilled customers? So who wants to start answering this question?
I wouldn't be able to pinpoint the number that come into the category via mystery betting and then transfer across. I do think a lot of people originally come in through friends, whether it's hereditary through parents and et cetera. So introduction to the category is not necessarily just through mystery betting. I'd say that we do have spring racing carnivals that came in on a Melbourne Cup Day, had a mystery bet, won and hopefully stuck, but I wouldn't say it's the majority of people that have entered, if you ask me. Sammy?
Okay, thank you.
So Sam, maybe I'll answer that maybe a different way, but I'm going to focus on dark horse bets because our HPI bet platform is very different with a very different demographic. But given that 75% of our players have tried a quick pick, I think the way that they're structured in the algorithm, providing a positive return or a winning experience, we like to put it, has a tendency to be sticky with our players. So where traditionally we would acquire players who come in, put $20 in, lose it all, go home and never play again, providing them the opportunity to place a number of bundled bets and actually have some winning experience, I think creates a bit more stickiness. So I think that that's really helped our platform and keeping our players around actually engaged.
Thank you, Chris. Peter?
I don't have any numbers, but as shown from one of my pictures earlier, is that some people just want to play the high board. They're not interested in picking any horses and anything, but some customers definitely take the road and become more skilled players. But I don't have any numbers on how big the share is. But some customers do and some customers don't, and both are important for us.
Thank you. If I was listening those presentations, and this is not a conclusion, but just my personal finding that all of you are sort of getting more possibilities for the customers to customize their own bets, or sort of are so moving away from the total mystery bet. Is that something that I understood correctly? So the quick pick is actually moving more into that you have some influence on the bet that you're actually placing, rather than having those $1 or $2 or $3 trifectas, what Glenn was actually presenting. So more chances for the customers to actually customize their own.
Yeah, I think Sammy,
you got Chris.
Okay, sure. I was going to say that, yeah, I think the agency that it provides to our customers for them to actually have a horse in the race is a bit different, because I have tried the traditional quick picks internationally, different places. And it's hard to follow who you're really cheering for. So if you want the winning experience, you want some agency and actually have a horse selection. And whether that horse selection is given to you by the AI or by the live odds or by something else, just knowing that I had a hand in my selection and now I know who to cheer for, I think creates a much more engaging experience than really a random runner type of ticket. So I think it is moving in that direction. And I think based upon everything actually that Peter and Glenn have put forth, there is a lot more intelligence to the picks that provides a little more of that agency too. I think that this millennial, zennial generation rely a little more on, oh, you have an algorithm that's going to actually try to write a winner. I'm gonna put my money in that basket. So, and that is that agency I think we're thinking of, right?
Yeah, and I'd tend to echo that. The introduction to wagering, I find more now is through millennials, through sport, and it's a two-horse race, Team A, Team B, and they've got a general idea of Team A or Team B. They think they know. So they're coming into our category with an opinion about the sport, the game, and when they apply that to racing, they want to have an opinion about what horse they're going to pick. And when you try to explain our betting profile to a lot of young customers, explaining a win bet is not hard. They watch the Olympics and there's 8 runners and 1 wins. So for them just to pick a runner is what they want to do now, as opposed to saying a pure mystery. So I tend to probably agree that's where it's going.
And I would say, as a former question, is both developments are important to us because 25% of our customers only bet the Harry Boy when they don't make any own choices. So it's important to stick to these customers so that they don't leave us. But of course, we want to have them to make their own choices and get more, what do you say, engaged customers. So we try to develop the product, but still the ones that only plays the Harry Boy is also important for us.
Good, thank you. Peter was referring to marketing campaigns and Ylva about Harry Boy, and Glenn, you were referring that you have regulatory restrictions in terms of marketing. What about Chris? Is it totally free for you to market these dark horse bets in Canada?
It is. It was interesting to see Glenn made the comment with regards to characters, and I think there is, and it would exist in most countries. There is a line in the sand where I think appealing to a younger audience, whether it's through the use of characters or the use of song or dance or something else. We do have some regulatory constraints, but generally no, we advertise for the most part on either national broadcast. So we actually have a number of races that we broadcast on the Canadian Sports Network, whether it's TSN in Canada. So we generally acquire customers through that channel. And again, people who are tuning into that channel are generally older. And again, because of the controls we have in place, you have to be 18 or older in Canada to sign up for an account and play for cash. So I think there are some restrictions, but we haven't, unlike Glenn pointed out, we haven't hit any of those in Canada yet. I hope we don't.
So I think the responsible gaming is moving so fast at the moment everywhere that at some point I think we will have some marketing restrictions in terms of betting and casino, I would assume. Then for Peter and Ylva, would you be able to open up a little bit more about the adapting the Harry Boy to sports betting? Was it Big 9 or Big 7?
It was Big 9.
Big 9.
But I think the Harry Boys is important when you launch the product because Harry Boys are well known in Sweden. So they know that if they're interested in betting on this bet type, they can choose the Harry Boy. But I'm not exactly familiar with how the strategy is in the sports betting. So sorry, I can't answer that.
So basically, it's more about marketing. The product is there behind, so everybody knows what that's sort of a mystery bet, but it's for sports betting.
Yeah.
Then I had for Chris, when you talk about those using the AI and splitting the bet in different sections, do you see an effect on certain pools? That has it increased maybe a show pool, or does it have an effect on those pool sizes?
Yeah, so it's a great question. It really is dependent on liquidity, right? So we offer only those bets into the North American pools. So the liquidity is very, very deep. So the number of players actually playing using those algorithms is quite small. And if I had to put a figure on it, it's probably less than 0.5% of players in the North American market would be playing that type of bet type. So in a smaller market or a closed market, it becomes very different, because if everyone's choosing an algorithm and they're all using the same algorithm, then they're all placing the same bet, and it would dramatically shift. So, you know, the big answer, and I've talked to a lot of people internationally about how do we work together to ensure that, well, the reality is, I think the global pools is the big piece. The more we get to global pools, we're all betting into common pool, then it really becomes, once Glenn and Tabcorp and Canada have common pool wagering for Australia and Canada, then Glenn's going to have an algorithm that's tweaked different with different fingerprints. I'll have Canadian customers with, you know, different fingerprints, a different algorithm, and we'll be playing in the same pools. The liquidity won't be an issue anymore, and we'll all have sort of our own bet products. So I think it is about globalization and liquidity more than anything.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Are there any other questions from the audience? Basically used our time for this webinar. On my behalf, I just want to thank you all for these great presentations. I want to thank the audience for the answers, and it was great meeting you and seeing all those familiar names at the attendee list. Take care, and I wish you all happy end of the week and waiting for the Christmas time to come. We do it a little bit differently here in Finland. It's going to be snowy, but I think, Glenn, you will have another atmosphere of Christmas. But
we'll have our board tours on Semi, so you're welcome to come down post-COVID.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much for everybody, and I hope we meet in the future. Bye-bye.
Well, bye.
Bye.